Welcome back to my journey to learn French. Um, in this video, I'm actually going to talk about the things that I do or use already to increase my French knowledge. So you can watch these videos and maybe get some ideas and tips or resources that are out there that you can use to help you on your journey to learn French. And if you already know French and you're watching this, please, please, please recommend what good tools you think there are for me to learn French that I have not mentioned here. So when I first thought this video up and thought about what I was going to talk about, I thought I was going to do one just big video mentioning everything. And I quickly saw how that would be a very long video. So what I've done is broken it down into smaller videos for some of the things that I do to give you a little more background. So there's actually some sort of app reviews here because I use some apps and just more details about some of the things that I'm going to mention in this video. In this video, I'm just going to briefly mention the things that I do or use that help me to increase my French knowledge and practice my French. So you can watch the other videos to get more details about each of the things. And it's kind of cool because you can pick which things you're interested in most. So like we talked about in my intro video, best way to learn a language is to immerse yourself in it. Cannot really do that here in this town, but the next best thing is to talk to someone who speaks French. So that's the number one thing that I do. These aren't in any order, but that is the number one thing, and probably I think the most effective thing that I do to help me with my French. I have a friend who speaks French, and I speak almost exclusively French with that friend because he'll probably come up in other videos. My friend's name is Rico. So when I'm talking about Rico, I'm talking about my friend that I speak to in French. So that is probably the most important thing that I do to help me with my French. I'll have a video about that gives a little more detail about what we do and that kind of thing. But basically, find someone who speaks French, even if it's another person who's just trying to learn and speak French daily if possible. Definitely a few times a week if you cannot do it daily, but even if you're just saying, hey, how you're doing daily, and maybe asking a little bit about work, speak French every day. So that's the number one thing. Kinda as a part of that, I have enabled the French keyboard on my iPad and on my iPhone. My friend and I text a lot as a part of this, and I really got irritated with how using the English keyboard on those devices has my French words auto-corrected to English words. For instance, I tried to type je m'appelle and it auto-corrected to hem apple, like H-E-M, a hem of pants or something, apple. And then I got tired of all the red lines under everything that I wrote. So I said, wait, there's got to be a way around this. I'm not about to turn my whole phone to French, which I did for a few minutes. And I said, yeah, I don't want to do this. So I went ahead and enabled the French keyboard and learned some stuff after doing that makes it so very useful. So you have to do this. If you have an iPhone or an iPad and you're texting people in French or typing things in French, you gotta enable the French keyboard. It has to be some kind of way to do this on Android devices as well. I do not have one, so I can't help you with that, but I actually have a video that I made for other purposes that shows you how to do this, how to enable the keyboard on your phone, why it's useful, and how to get rid of it when you do not want to use it anymore. So that video is on this site. You can check that out, but it is a must-do if you are typing things or writing things on your devices in French. So the other thing that I do, another thing anyway, is apps. I use a few different apps to help me with my French. One everybody should hopefully know is Duolingo. Um, that is a app, and they also have a website. I'm sure they have Android as well as iOS. They gotta have Android. It's a pretty big app. But basically, this app lets you practice languages. It lets you learn language through practice exercises. Excuse me. It's not limited to just French. You can learn other languages with it. So I do have a video about that as well, showing you kind of some of the exercises you'll encounter and what things I like about it. So you can watch that video to get some more detail, but definitely download Duolingo. It is good for just practicing your French. If you haven't found someone to talk to, you can just do this, try to do it at least once a day, and just get your mind thinking in French. So Duolingo is one of the apps that I use. Another app that is just so very awesome. I did not know it was going to be this great when I downloaded it. I just thought it was going to be a simple translator, but Google Translate. That app is just awesome. It does some things that I did not expect it to do, and it gives pretty good translations. The fact that I know some French helps with that, because I look at some of the translations it gives and it's like, no, that's not how you say that. That's not how I want to say that. And then I can correct it. But definitely want to download Google Translate. It should be useful if you go somewhere too, because you can, you just watch the video. You can see some of the things that you can do with it. It's pretty cool. So Google Translate, that's another app you want to download. Specific to my French journey, there's an app called Verb Trainer. The reason that I downloaded this app is because I know a lot of verbs, common verbs, but I do not know how to use the different tenses that well. If it's not present tense, I pretty much don't get it. So this app, it's kind of weird because when I first downloaded this app, I just used it to look in the dictionary and look at, it has a list of some of the most common French verbs, and then when you click on one of them, it'll show you the conjugation of it. It'll show you all the different tenses, how to use it. So when I'm not sure, you know, if I'm trying to do past perfect or something, I'm thinking, what is that for être? I don't know. Then I go to this app and I click on the word and I'm like, okay, past perfect, whatever. Which I don't know off the top of my head what it is. So this app is pretty handy for that, but it has undergone a major overhaul in the last just few days. So it looks completely different than when I first downloaded it. And I think it focuses more, it brings, at least it brought my attention more to the fact that it is a trainer. You actually can do exercises on it to help you learn those tenses. I have not used that aspect of it yet. Maybe after I use it, I'll make a video, but that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. I said what I use it for, so if you need that kind of thing, it might be a good app to download. I'm not sure if they have an Android version of it, but it's called Verb Trainer, and they have it for different languages as well. You could check on the iTunes App Store and see who's the maker, and then look on the Google Store to see if there's something equivalent on there. So Verb Trainer. Another app, which is a brand new app, is Fluent You. They have a website and they've had an Android app for a while. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a video about that because I do not use it that much, but the idea behind Fluent You is that you can learn French or another language and conversational French or another language through the media. So it has a lot of videos on there, like news stories, TV show clips, that kind of thing, that are supposed to help you learn French or another language. Again, it's not limited to languages, just like Duolingo. Um, you can learn other languages with it, but I use it for French, obviously. I I have not used it that much. Like I said, the app is brand new. It literally just came out like last week or the week before. I think maybe just last week. So it's pretty new. And I tried using it once. I get the idea. It seems like a good idea for learning a language, but I haven't gotten accustomed to how to use the app really, and it was a little awkward for me. I watched one video and then I was like, okay, I'm ready to learn, and it was just a little awkward for me. So I'm gonna keep trying that, and hopefully I'll get used to it and it'll be like second nature and it'll help me learn too. But I cannot really say that much about it right now because I have not used it much. But what I like about Fluent You, which I was doing before I downloaded the app, is they have really good articles. Articles with tips on how to learn a language. So if you go on there and search, or even if you search, you know, something like learn a language with music or something, there's probably an article on that site about that, and it'll suggest some songs or something. So they have really good tips on there for learning. So Fluent You, check it out. Check out the website. Download the app. See what's going on. If you use it and you think it's awesome and you can give me some tips, go ahead and tell me. That's fine. I'm new to it. It's a new app on iOS. So Fluent You. So that's another app that I use. Those are the main apps that I use. Those four, I think. Let me make sure there's nothing else. Yeah, those four are really all that's in my Francais folder, that and WhatsApp, because I use that to talk to my friend Enrico, who I talked to in French, if you did not watch the first video. Or maybe I mentioned that in this one, I don't know. Anyway, so those are the apps that I use. Okay, other things that I'm doing to learn French. Movies. Les films. You have to watch movies. If you want to learn a language, watching movies and TV shows in that language is a great way to learn a language. You get to hear how words are pronounced properly. You get to hear conversational language, and you get to see it in context and hear it in context, so you get to learn how to use words. I mean, there are a lot of words that seem very similar, like appeler and téléphoner. Which one do I use for call? And connaître and savoir. No, you know, what do I know? So, you know, it's good for just learning and hearing and listening to the language. So I actually have a video where I talk a little bit more about that and tell you some of my favorite movies. So definitely find some movies in French. If you have Netflix, there are movies on there. I'm sure there's stuff on YouTube you can watch. There's movies you can buy. Just find some movies and watch them, and that's a good way to learn some phrases, some words, and just learn the language. So, movies. Of course, following that, music. I love music. So this is a really great way for me to learn. I have a video about that too, talking about the French music that I have and listen to, and ways you might be able to use it to learn the language. So definitely find some music that you like. Almost everybody likes music, so you should be able to find some French music that you can listen to, or whatever language you're trying to learn. If you're here, hopefully it's French, because that's what I'm going to be talking about most of the time. So find some French music, listen to it, learn it, sing it, and that'll help you learn the language too. Another thing that I've started doing, I just started doing this the other day, is following people on Twitter who either teach French or trying to learn French or that speak French and say interesting things. So I have some entities and some people that I'm following now on Twitter that give French tips. So I mean, I could get on there and just get a quick vocabulary boost there. It's like word of the day, you know, blah blah blah. And so you can look on Twitter and see. I might do a video about that, just showing the ones that I use, but I just started it, so I'm hoping that you guys can recommend some people for me to follow or groups for me to follow on there so that I can use that to help me learn French as well. And then pretty much the last thing that I do, like I said, these aren't in any order, but the last thing I can think of that I do to help me with my French is read. Oh, I guess there's another thing, write. So read French. I have a video on that that just goes into it with a little more detail, gives some kind of tips for using reading for learning a language. So you can watch that, but reading, definitely. Find some French books, find some French articles, blogs, whatever, read. Writing. I write in French sometimes. I don't do it as much as talking and speaking. I'm speaking and reading, I mean. But I don't know, maybe I take that back because in talking through text, sometimes I end up writing a lot of French. But sometimes I actually write out things in French. I'm an avid journaler. I've been journaling since I can remember. So I have tons and tons of journals. I journal every day, and I'm at the point where I am writing some of my entries in French. It's good practice. So writing will help you with that too. So those are the things that I'm doing right now to help me with my French. You can see how this video is right now. I don't know how long it is yet until I'm done, but I'm going to actually go into detail with some of these. So that's why I have them broken up into other videos like I do. So just to recap for this video, the things that I do, I talk to people in French. I use the French keyboard on my iPad and iPhone. I use Duolingo, Google Translate, Fluent You, Verb Trainer. So those are the apps that I use. I also watch French movies, listen to French music, follow people on Twitter who are doing French. And also I have watched some YouTube videos. There are some people who are teaching French on YouTube, so I've watched some of those too as well. I didn't mention that before, so stick that into the list. And I read and write in French when I can. So those are some things that you might be able to do to help you learn the language. If you're really serious about this, you know, you gotta do some of these things to get you going. You gotta do these things daily too. So those are some resources. You can look at the other videos to get more details and tips and maybe some references or resources, maybe people to listen to, movies to watch, that kind of thing in my other videos. So this is just a brief on what things I do to help me with my French.